Hey everybody, it's Thomas. Let's talk about some Blood Bowl League of Blood Bowl. What a week! It was not quite as good as I wanted it to be, but it's okay. So, things that didn't happen. Betty's Machetes didn't level up again, of course, because why would that be a thing that I get to have on my team? Things that did do okay. Yes, Wire Hangers got some SPP. I want to say at least one, maybe two injuries. Either way, Yes, Wire Hangers, Mighty Blow was helpful. Wolf in Cheap Clothing leveled up. I want to say that happened this week. Yeah, because I was at 15 before, and I got an injury with Wolf in Cheap Clothing, and I got Dodge. And the reason I got Dodge, it was basically a choice between Dodge and Block in my mind. Block to help knock things over and, more importantly, defend against Block. Dodge, though, gives me a little bit more. Dodge provides me protection against people without tackle, and also has the advantage of letting me dodge away easier if someone marks my strip ball piece. Now, 3 agility dodging is not great, but it's okay, and dodge pushes it towards that 90-ish%, which is kind of as much hope as you can get in a Blood Bowl system, so I'll take it. I'm okay with this. I don't know how many more levels Wolf in Cheap Clothing is probably going to get. Not a lot, I would imagine, so dodge is okay. And with the niggling, I figure more protection is good. Certainly not that great against teams like Zach's that have a fair amount of tackle, but whatever. Okay, what else do we have here? One of these leveled up. I want to say it was Yada Yada Dada. It was Yada Yada Dada or Fridge Too Far. Or no, Fridge Too Far is a bullet. So yeah, it was Yada Yada Dada. Yada Yada Dada leveled up and got Block, which is great because, as you may have seen, Annie Get Your Gum is now Annie Get Your Gum 2, which is a little annoying because Annie Get Your Gum, the original, was at 13 SPP, and I would have really liked to get her to level 3, but it's not going to happen because she's dead. Finally added a skull to the Skull Mountain. I knew my time was coming, and I had just been working on borrowed time since then, but didn't get a new fan factor, so kind of a mixed game. 17-10 for my team value at this point because all of my pieces are back up and running. So losing and Get Your Gum is kind of sad because I'll lose another Block Pit Fighter Cultist. Did have to spend some of my stockpiled money here, but it's okay. I don't know, not ideal, but it's okay. I've still got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, still have 3 pieces with Block that are Pit Fighter Cultists, so that's good. It means I'll only have 1. Well, I guess 2 if you count Betty here, but I'll only have 2 pieces without at least Block or a skill level up on the pitch at any given time, so that's good. Money-wise, 20k. If you haven't watched the game, it's up here. Mark basically did a lot of damage to me. 5 casualties, 1 death, as you can see. I did 2 casualties, which is fine, but not really that great. A bunch of badly hurts is not really what I want against Mark's team. So despite Mark's belly aching and complaining, he did just fine. He had the fame roll as well, I think, so that was pretty great. Yeah, so tie game. This definitely messes with my record a little bit. We can talk about that a little bit later, though. But still, I mean, I'm complaining, but I still got 15 SPP out of the week. Certainly not as good as, you know, God, so annoying. Mark's 19, which is ridiculous. And yeah, again, despite all Mark's complaining, his team is doing just fine. So things I want, obviously I want to get Betty to level 2 at least. It probably isn't going to happen, but I'd like to hope it will. It's 1 injury, right? I can do that. Cali Reflexes I'd like to get to level 2. Pretty much any of these level 3 pieces I'd like to get to level 4. Obviously, that's pretty unlikely to happen, though. Valley of the Doilies, I probably want to get to level 3 as well. It's probably my next target for giving the ball to them. And the rest of these, I mean, they're Pit Fighter Cultists. They'll be fine. I probably want to pick up a... I don't know. I might end up forgoing Kick this season. It is useful, but none of the teams are that much faster than me except for Skaven. And I think I can beat Jessup's team at this point anyway. So, is what it is. Let's take a look here at Mark's side of things here. So Mark, like I said, Mark had a lot of complaining to do because his team is pretty beat up, but for the most part, not that bad. I did leave him with, actually I did get him, oh, I thought I did more than this, or less than this, but apparently did minus MA this runner. This runner is still fine, plus agility, 6 movement allowance is okay. It's still a 6 movement allowance piece, it's plenty fast, and 4 agility opens up a lot for this team. There's no reason to fire this guy. Minus MA too. Abed continues to crush and destroy, gets 16 casualties for fun. Any other level ups on this team? I don't think he got any level ups this week. Nothing looks like it. Layla seems to think no. So yeah, I don't think Mark had any level up this week. Gained a fan factor though, so up to 9, so that's good for him. Yeah, walks away with 80k, which is pretty crazy. Must have 2 fame then. 2 fame? I don't know. Whatever. Mark's not spending his money that fast either. He probably should start thinking about filling it out. I think getting... Question is really get a thrower or a lineman at this point. Throwers don't add a ton to this team beyond pass. I don't know how much Mark would even use the pass or the passing skill access. It kind of depends on what he wants to do with this team. The linemen are certainly very good at 50k for getting a block piece. So I'd imagine he wants to hire... I think he needs to hire 1 more piece, though. Getting to 14 is something this team would definitely benefit from since they have weak armor and people are starting to pick up lots of Mighty Blow. That's what I would look towards anyway. But yeah, no real things here. Abed is 2 injuries away from hitting level 5, which is terrifying. I don't even want to think about it. Okay, other matches of the week here. We have Zach versus Chris. Zach pulls out another win by crushing Chris's vampires to death. Only gets 20k for his trouble, which is not great. This game is one of those things where Chris's vampires just suck all game. They suck the life out of the thralls. They suck the life out of being able to roll things. Zach had first possession and managed to crush his way downfield, and then Chris couldn't keep the ball because he was down pieces, and his vampires are bad at doing anything. Gets 1 casualty on 2 passes, so they were better at passing than they normally are. So 9 SPP for Chris, which is pretty good, all things considered, I think. But a pretty good week for Zach. 3 casualties, 2 touchdowns, MVP. It's so good. It's a really happy 17, which is a pretty good record for him as well. Big level ups. Both whites here leveled up, I think, with touchdowns. Yeah, that's really good. Tackle and guard on both these now, which is absolutely phenomenal. I think from what Zach was saying, he didn't know how to get to strength skills before. So that's why he didn't have guard before. But tackle and guard makes these whites very, very good. Their Mighty Blow is probably the next thing they want, but these are very good whites now. I've had Elvis as big guy syndrome and can't get to level 3 or level 2 to save its life. Chubba the Hutt is crouching up there, though. Any other upgrades? It doesn't look like it. No big changes here. I don't know. I think he definitely wants to get these ghouls to level 3 or more. But this team is doing great, honestly. 1560 team value is a pretty good reflection of where he is here. I don't know if he wants to hire more pieces or not. I don't think he did. Skeletor might be new, actually. Can I see how many matches? Yeah, Skeletor is new. Okay, so that's good. This is probably a pretty happy team number, honestly. 13 pieces is pretty good, considering that all these pieces are regeneration, and they're relatively tough, all things considered. Yeah, this team is doing phenomenal. 1490 without the 4-3 rule, but I think the 4-3 rule is good for him. I don't know. This team is phenomenal and is definitely very scary. Let's take a look at Chris's side of things. I don't think anybody got a level up. Doesn't look like it. Yeah. So the debate Chris has a side rolled 70, so that's cool. Fame went for Chris then. The question for Chris is, what does he want to hire more vampires? I'm guessing not. Or does he want to hire more thralls? Or do you want to leave these slots blank? 1490 is a pretty good team value. Given how fast Chris turns through thralls, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to hire more thralls. Either way, I mean, this team is fine as is. I mean, as fine as it can be. Chris has had just such terrible luck all season that I don't know if there's time for this team to recover. These vampires not all being level 3 is kind of a problem. And that's, I mean, it's not a problem that Chris has made for himself. It's the problem the dice have made for him. There's only so much you can do with this team. So, it's okay, I guess. He's not that far behind out, but he's definitely back there. Chaos versus Skaven here. Bit of a punch fest for Greyduck here. Mark and I cast this game. It's one of those things where I feel like Jessup could have played a little bit safer and maybe made this a tie game. But he was down some pretty key pieces. So I don't know what he'd really be able to accomplish. Considering that no one died, pretty good week for Jessup, although no casualties is a little unusual for him. I don't know, it's not bad. He still got 3 passes out of it, but he definitely wanted more, because 8 SPP is not what a Skaven team needs at this stage of the game. Lots of KOs, I think, was the big name of the game, though. 10 KOs sustained, 2 casualties, so more, basically even with people standing up with the 2 babes, this whole team spent at least some time on the sidelines. Yeah, just a rough week for Jessup. Greyduck walks away with 15 SPP, which is stupid amounts of SPP at this point. Lionic finally manages to hit level 2, and from what I understand is a plus strength roll, which, no one's happy about that. 5 strength Chaos Warrior is pretty scary. Adds a lot more punching power to this team. Not that it already didn't have a lot, but this makes this team a lot more difficult to deal with. Lion Ionic is kind of a big target for getting to level 3 then. Getting Mighty Blow, getting Block. I mean, these are all really good things to get. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where she really wants to get SVP to Lion Ionic to make it more useful, but it's, I don't know. This team's got such lopsided growth. It's kind of bizarre. We'll see what happens. Leopard Corinthian did a lot of damage too, so Leopard Corinthian's pretty close to level 3. Ocelot Atlas also close to level 4. Smiley fall a little bit behind on the whole injuries front. Abed staying a pretty good pace ahead, and will actually probably get level 5 before Smiley does, all things considered, which is fine. This piece is crazy good already and doesn't need that much more. Honestly, this is probably the best piece in the league at this stage. Guard, Block, Claw, Frenzy, Mighty Blow, Horns, even with Wild Animal, this piece is phenomenal. Easily, like I said, the best piece in the league, I think, at this point. Let's take a look at what Jessup walked away with here. Not a lot of great stuff, because this poor Gutter Runner. Balderdash 3, the target of death, got minus MA. I think he still keeps this piece. He can't afford to replace it anyway, and honestly, I don't know. I don't think it really matters that much. I just don't. Does have 70k. He could afford another thrower if he wanted to. I don't know if that's necessarily the right choice. I mean, if it was me, I would just leave the loner lineman. If the loner lineman gets a bunch of stuff, then maybe consider hiring it with the money you have in the bank. But otherwise, I'd just say it for replacement Gutter Runners. Yeah, I mean, minus MA is 8 MA is still faster than every piece in the league. Barring Bull Centaurs, maybe, but they still have to use Go for it, so this piece could easily outrun them. I mean, it's annoying, but not great. Jessup walks away with 10k, so not what he wanted whatsoever. He had 20 to get to Gutter Runner territory. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if it was me, I'd just save it. And if you get a mercenary that gets MVP and a bunch of injuries or whatever, then you can consider hiring him with the money you have in the bank. All right, let's take a look here. Other match here was Orwell versus Andrew. A little bit of an upset here. Watched this game a little bit last night, a little bit this morning. Andrew had a really good first half. I mean, the only bad part was the Minotaur got injured right away, which is, well, not right away, but injured relatively quickly, which definitely took a lot of the punching power out of this team. And then Orwell had possession oh my god. Orwell had possession in the second half, got a touchdown, and then thanks to some good passing positioning, got another touchdown in to win the game. So well played by Orwell. Pretty good overall. 30k is not quite what he wants, though. That's a lot less money. Orwell's our poverty roller, I think, this season. It's a pretty good statistic track, actually. I'll add that for the recap. But really good week for Orwell. 4 passes, 2 touchdowns. I mean, this is already 15 SVP, and then a casualty on top of that is 17. I think this is the best week Orville's ever had. It's a really good deal. Andrew still got a good bit of damage. 3 casualties, a touchdown, and MVP. I mean, Andrew's perfectly happy with walking away with 14 SVP. It's not a win, but record isn't that important, although these two are in that lower bracket, which is very close, and we'll look at that when we get into rankings. But Orville, aside from a minus agility blitzer here, which I think you still keep, 3 agility is okay for a piece that wants to be hitting mostly anyway. It definitely lessens the punching power of this team, but it's okay. And I mean, Blodge, it's still pretty good. But this piece has 3 injuries. I mean, Niggling's probably helping with some of that. Is more importantly, Orneas here is now level 3. Dodge is the most obvious choice. We'll see what he rolls. If he rolls doubles, you get guard on elves, I think, especially on a blitzer. But otherwise, you get dodge. Blodge Dauntless is really good. Could make an argument for sidestep, I guess, but I think dodge is more valuable. I not an elf, damn it. Still sitting at 15 SVP. Dude, still at 0 SVP. This lineman leveled up as well. This is the big touchdown winner at the end there. He's got kick on this runner, which I don't love. Bunch of choices to get here. Blodge is never bad. Is basically what I would say. Only the Dwarf will decide, though. I mean, with agility access, there's some fun things you can do, but I think Blodge is probably the safest. Fend, I could also see as well. Fend does a lot of good work for this team, and can kind of remove the need for dodging away, but tough to say. Fend is not a bad choice whatsoever, especially with the number of frenzy pieces we have in the league. Would be worth considering. Fender dodge is probably what I would lean towards. Also has enough money to buy Blitzer number 4, which needs to happen. It should have happened weeks and weeks ago, but some poor buying decisions and low rolling by Orville has delayed that. So Blitzer number 4 needs to happen right away. We'll give him 11 players as well, which is great. And then let's take a look at Andrew's side of things. Like I said, Andrew didn't do great, but he did okay. He rolled 10k, which is a bit sad, but 2 level ups is a pretty big deal, especially on Bull Centaur to level 3 and a Chaos Dwarf Blocker to level 2, so this will be guard almost certainly. You could get Mighty Blow here, but I think more guard is necessary, especially because more and more people are starting to pick up guard. Zach's got 2, I've got 2. You want to have a guard advantage with this team pretty hard. Again, Mighty Blow does a lot of good things for this team, so I wouldn't fault Andrew for going Mighty Blow, but I think guard is safer. In terms of the Bull Centaur, Break Tackle I think is the most obvious choice. With 4 strength, sure feet, and sprint, Break Tackle keeps the Bull Centaur doing what it does best, which is being mobile and smashing things. Also, if you don't want to blitz your way through a crowd or can't do the positioning, you can try to dodge away if that's easier. Or blitz and dodge. I mean, there's a lot. Break Tackle opens up so much more for a Bull Centaur than anything else in this team. And considering that this team has movement problems and is part of the reason why Orville's able to outmaneuver him, that's what I would lean towards. I wouldn't fault him for getting Mighty Blow. I wouldn't fault him for getting Tackle. I wouldn't fault him for getting Guard. But Break Tackle, I think, is the best skill for this. Block Break Tackle is the quintessential Bull Centaur combo, and it's the quintessential combo for a reason. Andrew's team is terrifying. Andrew remains our only player without throwing a skull on the mountain, which shocks me considering how much punishment these poor hobgoblins have taken. Yeah, this team is just terrifying. It's so good. It's so good, and it's got so much less team value than I do. Kills me how expensive my team is. So that wraps up the week. A terrible week for my predictions. Just ass. Awful. I don't think I get any of these right. Oh, God. Horrible. Let's take a look at week number 13. We are getting into crunch time now. This is our penultimate week before the final stage, as penultimate would imply, before the final match of the regular season. And then we move on to group stage, which we've been really talking about, but now we're going to start really talking about it because we're pretty much locked going into these weeks here. So let's start previewing here. We've got Zach versus Mark here. I'm actually pretty scared for Mark in this game. Mark was really scared against me because he was missing so many pieces, but I think Zach could be a scarier team for him to deal with. This team is it seems got more maneuverability than Mark does. Has a fair amount of hitting power, and now with 2 guard pieces can do a lot of damage. The mummies are still tough, but last time they faced, Zach lost 2-0, but Zach also didn't really know how to play the game then, and also didn't have this developed of a team. Kind of nice part about getting developed as a team if you're a new player, especially with a team like Undead, is you have skills to forgive your mistakes. So let's look at team value here. 1560 and mark 1490, and we don't have anything there. So if Mark hires nobody, he will get a babe, which isn't bad. I think hiring another lineman will do more for this team. I mean, he's got 12 people, which is probably fine, but I would want another body, especially because I'm guessing Chang here is going to be stepping on some people, and or Zach will be using Meter Maid to step on some of Mark's people. So I would hire another body, at which point you don't get anything, but I think the extra body is better. I mean, Mark's team is very scary still. And I wouldn't put it past Mark to pull out the win here. As always with Norse, it really depends on how lucky Mark is at hurting people versus how lucky he is at getting hurt. I think missing a runner is actually kind of a big deal because it stops Mark from having easy ways to deal with mummies aside from the Yeti, which has been the bane of Mark's existence, and werewolves with positioning. Might happen. I mean, both these pieces are crazy good, but bringing 2 bodies along to support to hit mummies might not be worth it, whereas Dauntless makes it super easy to take out mummies. So missing Jeff Winger actually probably hurts a little bit. We will see. I give Mark an edge in terms of overall ability to play the game, but I think Zach's team is at this point better. So, don't know. I'm going to say Zach wins this game. He's been on a bit of a streak here. His team is getting pretty good. I don't know, essentially. Things could go south for Zach, obviously, very quickly. Mark's team is very scary, as I demonstrated last week, but I think Zach has better advantages going in here. Other matches of the week, we've got Chaos versus Vampire. I don't expect Chris to win this game whatsoever. Strength roll adds 50. Yeah, adds 50, so this team will be at 1630. Assuming Chris doesn't hire anybody, he'll be getting 140. So he could hire another Thrall, actually, and not really change his inducements that much. Get 100k, so, I don't know, probably a bribe or something. The Chaos team is slow enough that it is possible to outpace them. The problem is Chris's Vampires have been assholes so long, I don't see them starting to learn the correct and proper behavior. So I just don't see good things for this matchup. Especially with the grossness that is Smiley, a little bit of Mighty Blow, solid ball removal here, just stupidly strong. I don't know. Cheetah, by the way, definitely needs to hit level 3. This piece has just been wasted otherwise. I just don't see how Chris can win this game. I mean, I could see how we could win the game, but I don't think it's very likely that will happen. Alright, then we got me versus Andrew. I don't think I'm going to win this game. I can beat Andrew because I'm faster, and I can beat Andrew because I think I'm a better player, but Andrew's team hits really hard. Assuming normal skill ups here, we're looking at 1530 for team value for Andrew, whereas I'm at 1710. Is that correct? Yeah, 1710. So I'm giving up 180, which a lot of things you can do for 180, mostly a wizard. I don't know what Andrew will decide to do because Andrew's all over the place with inducements, but a babe and reroll wouldn't be that bad either. I feel like to win this game, I have to basically have one Betty has to be phenomenal, which I can't count on that happening. But basically to win this game, I have to do similar things to what I did against Grey Duck, in that I have to be able to cordon off an area where I can move my ball carrier up the pitch safely, which will probably value the doilies. But if I can do that, I should be able to hold on long enough to win. I'm not optimistic of that happening, though. And honestly, we'll see. Base German Point might get the ball, too. We'll see. I'm going to say tie here, because Andrew can outfight me. I can't fight Andrew's team cleanly, which is a bit of a problem because I have Frenzy on almost all of my dudes. My Blitz is a little bit superior, but we'll see. I basically have to hope I can outplay Andrew and get my 6 fame advantage gets me some, or 6 fan factor advantage gets me some fame, and that the kickoff events go my way. But this is going to be a brutal game for me. I hope I do okay enough to not be too beat up before we get to the playoffs, or before we get to group stage. And then we have our finesse matchup here. Dark Elf versus Skaven here. Last time these teams fought, it was a pretty big 2-1 loss. Or no. Oh, Orville beat him. Okay. I apparently don't remember this game whatsoever. Both these teams are pretty battered. Assuming Jessup doesn't hire anybody, which is, again, what I would recommend, we're looking at 1220 for team value versus 12, assuming normal rolls, 1290. So just a babe for Jessup. You might actually see some interceptions this week, which I'm kind of excited about. I think Orville's team is actually better. Assuming, well, actually, no, that's not true. I miscalculated here because if Orville buys a blitzer, he'll be at 1390, and actually, I should double check my math on all this here. Okay, so 1220 for Jessup for sure. Sorry, inducements change this in a big way, so that's why I want to make sure. Okay, so if he buys a blitzer, he'll have 11 players. Okay, so yeah, 1390, 1220. So 170 for Jessup. That's an apothecary and a babe or a wizard. Wizard is actually a pretty big deal in this matchup because lightning bolt to get the ball free. Gutter runner scoops it up, runs it in. It can be, or runs it far enough away. It can be a pretty game-changing move. I would lean towards getting the wizard, which could definitely make things really interesting. Both these teams like to score really fast, so we'll see. This could easily be like a ridiculous, like 3-4 kind of game. I do think Orville has a slight advantage. He's got more blitzing pieces, which off is really good. His linemen are actually pretty stable too, and he's got a kick advantage. And for agility everywhere means moving the ball around is a little bit easier. So if this becomes a shootout, which I think it might be, I think Orville has the advantage. But Jessup also has his big guys back. He's got his claw plus strength asshole to wreck things. He's got his Sven's lineman back. This game's going to be pretty interesting, pretty fun to watch, I hope. If one side blows it out, obviously it won't be very fun or interesting for anybody. But I don't know. I think Orville still has advantage. If, again, and this is a big if it becomes a shootout. But if Jessup brings the noise like he usually tries to do, who knows? Both these teams like to fight in weird ways. Both these teams love to score really fast. We'll see. The wizard makes it a big deal, so I'm going to put this at a tie, just because I think with the wizard, again, assuming Jessup gets wizard, Jessup has a better shot of getting the ball all the way. Okay, let's look at rankings here. So Orville's win pushes him up into this 5th spot, which is a pretty big deal because it means he's now in Group 1. Griddick and I might trade places here because I tied, and I expect her to win this game, and I don't expect to win. So we'll see. I would like to win. If I basically I keep winning, I'll stay at above or at parity, and then I'll be at 1 still. So we'll see. Chris is probably stuck at the bottom. I don't see him coming out of there. I mean, Andrew and Zach are pretty close together. I don't think they actually have a head-to-head. Yeah, they don't. So it could be interesting. Zach plays kind of a spoiler role for the top group, just a little bit. We'll see. Kind of depending on what both these teams decide to do, or how they behave this week in terms of turning it. I figure after, well, depending on how much movement happens down here, I think we'll be pretty locked moving to week 14 for who the group stage will be, which isn't too unexpected at the length of the season we've had. Let's take a look at the Hall of Fame. Most experienced player, Abed, by a long way now. 13 SPP is a lot. Best scorer, the Dean, once again, back on top. The best throwing, 19 passes. Who he is, chucking the ball real hard. No new interceptions, although I'm hoping to change that this week with as much passing as both those teams like to do. Most violent players, Abed pulls ahead with 16 casualties versus Smiley's 12. No one else is really close. Best runner, the Dean, pulls ahead by a single square. Mark 1 point padded out his stats by running him kind of horizontally along the end zone for a few squares, which paid off. He's the best runner again. Best throwing, Hui, despite having a ton more passes, is the less than Enlin by only by a little bit though. I wanted a quick look at this too because aside from the Dean, who's thrown a little bit, Orville's done a really good job of filling out his elves with more throwing, which is absolutely good. It's the right choices to make. This team should be chucking the ball around all the time. Chris's team, when it remembers to throw, does well too, so that is what it is. Best killer, again, there's a long trail off of where there should be more here. But yeah, so many skulls. Best receiver, Enlin. Wait. He's the... Yeah, not too surprised. The runner getting thrown the ball a lot. That's not too surprising. And again, not too surprising here either to see a lot of people that were in our passing, but the rest receiving teams. So yeah, season is definitely shaking up. I said this last week, but aside from Chris, I think pretty much everybody's got a pretty good shot going into the group stage and making the playoffs. What the exact composition of the group is will really dictate how the rest of the season goes, obviously. And it's still pretty much up in the air. Great Duck and I being tied for points, Mark being only 4 points behind us. This group being pretty much within 1 point of each other. Pretty big deal. Yeah, quick recap of my predictions as well before we leave here. I think tie game, chaos, tie game, and tie game. So yeah, we're doing 3 ties and 1 win. Hopefully it goes better for me at the end of this week. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll talk to you later.